Welcome to the official AFL Fantasy Podcast with the Traders.
G'day with the Traders, I'm Roy, I coach Destroy and I'm here with Warnie.
Coach of the Want Dogs.
And Calvin.
Coach of Calvinator.
Boys, the Lions have become they're a bit of a fantasy fave.
Oh, yes.
We've always got one or two players float through our teams and they're always so relevant of late. And that is no different this year, especially given their new recruit.
I'm excited.
I'm saying this guy up there with first picked for many, and I am ticking it off. Josh Dunkley is going to be full beast this year. Do not overthink this.
Hater.
Yeah,
hater.
He is
Not
clearly,
a hater.
He is so clearly the number one forward in the game.
And the number one pick in your fantasy draft.
He's not number one.
I don't mind that, dog.
Look,
100%.
I don't mind it, but
Yeah.
I don't agree with it.
Okay, so this guy, not only will he be number one forward, he'll be top five in the actual game.
Could be number one.
Could be number one.
What do you think
Like
he's
this-
going to do, Roy?
I think he's going massive. So he got bevoed, and as he has done his whole career. So he got bevoed again last year, and there were times where his CBAs, they were dropping under 50. Now, because dunks is dunks, he was still finding a way to get it done. But unfortunately, his season ended early. But leading up until that point, he was back in the midfield. So he was hitting 60% CBAs, all right, for his last 5 games of the season, which was up on what he'd been doing. Do you know what he averaged in those last 5 games where his CBAs were up over 60%?
No.
Are we including finals?
No.
No, it don't count.
Pretty high.
He didn't play him, did he?
Dunkley? I think so.
Waiting. Cue the crickets.
Cricket.
Can I continue? Or
Yes, go for it.
Go.
119. So do not be surprised if he comes out as a full-time mid at the Lions. I'm talking maybe 70% CBA and goes that 118 plus average. I think he can do it. That's how good I think he is.
Okay, so who are going to be the guys there that are going to be with him in that midfield group?
So what? Lachie Neale,
Yep.
Hugh McCluggage, whether Jared Lyons is completely out of the mix. They run a few guys through there, but it's going to be him and Lachie Neale.
Yep,
and then Hugh, I think, will be a higher CBA. But like Hugh's only a 55% CBA guy at the moment. He does his time out on the wing and things like that. So I think it's going to be those two. Think back to that year where Lyons and Neale were just pumping massive numbers as the two main midfielders and everyone else just did their thing around that. I think we are talking about Dunkley and Neale doing that, and Dunkley is... Well, he's 10 times the player Lyons is.
Oh, yeah.
Dunkley did play a final.
Oh, yeah, how'd he go?
133.
Yes, he did.
This is what we're talking about.
So are you saying that this is a no-brainer? Don't overthink it.
Yes,
Just straight do it.
You have to do it.
So what can he do?
And I'm talking the dude is actually a captain option as well.
Roy, I'll be the
If you
judge.
do not want to
Yes.
pay up for, say, the most expensive man in the game, which you're going to tell us all to do, Cal.
Yes.
If you don't do that and you're like, oh, where do I go with the captain? The forward line.
Yep.
That's where you go because he is going to be massive. I'll be conservative and say safe 115.
I agree, yeah. It is a very minimum 115.
Yeah. Dog?
Yeah, 115. So there, Cal.
Here we go. Finger pointing dog.
Yeah, this is why I don't
Keep
understand
your chunky 10 digits away from
I don't
me.
actually understand where your hate for Dunkley is.
Because, now there's no hate.
If you just say you just said he's going to average 115.
I think he goes 115.
Do you think any other forwards are going to do that?
I think Laird goes 125.
He's not a forward, mate.
No, he doesn't need to be, but we're talking draft. That's where you're going with it, isn't it?
Well, that's where I was going to go next.
Okay. So on draft day, pick number 1, you go Dunkley.
Okay.
Well done. Well bloody done.
So when I take him with pick number 1 and
Yep.
get 115 out of him,
Yep.
let's say you've got pick number 2 and you go your Laird.
Woo! Yeah, boys.
Okay. I'm going to get a midfielder on the other side of that
Yep.
better than what you're going to get when you get that forward.
Well done.
Like by a significant margin.
Just because you win draft for 1 year, mate, doesn't turn you into a draft expert.
Just because you made the final in
made
some...
the final, Roy. Let's
God
go.
knows how.
Exactly.
All right, moving on. Lachie Neale, he's there. He's always there.
Oh, he's always there.
Now, he ended up with about 107 as his average, but we know what he can do, and we saw it for quite an extended period. So I think it was between rounds, I wrote it down here, 5 and 13. So that's a significant patch.
Sure.
He averaged 113 in that time. So that's where he was showing he's still that uber elite guy. Now, he gets tagged, but he's starting to show that he can push through a tag. I remember one game was looking like an absolute disaster at half time, and he racked up massively in the second half. So he doesn't give up against the tag anymore. So he's a guy who's there. Would you start with him? No. But is he draft relevant? Yes.
Yep.
Is he slightly better than that 107? He can be. I think it's a pretty fair sort of range for him, though.
So he's not a starting pick in Classic.
No,
I don't think because
so.
of that.
No.
But, yeah.
Just because I'm looking here, he had a 60 and a 67 last year.
Yeah.
Okay. They just need to improve to an 80 or a 90 on a bad day.
Look,
But
I
is
have
he going to be
spoken
that
to
first
people-
one to get a tag?
Yes. He will.
And I have spoken to people that are starting with him.
Yeah.
And there's no way you're trying to turn him off doing it.
No.
But I just think he's the one that still gets tagged.
Yeah.
And Dunks is just going to be beast in
He definitely gets the tag because he's such a big ball winner.
Now, Hugh McCluggage, he's an interesting one because his CBAs were at 54%.
Okay.
Which is probably up because he was a wingman type guy.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does he go back there now?
Well, potentially. Or do you just say that's a pretty sick midfield if you've got
Isn't it
Dayne
ever?
Zorko and Hugh
Wow.
in there? Because his inside work is actually underrated. I think he too often gets pigeonholed into being an outside guy. He can play as that inside mid, but he's another one that... So he's priced at 103. He can actually go bigger than that. He's got a big ceiling. 142 last year when he was showing off his ceiling. 7 times he went over that 110 mark. So he's an elite guy, but...
I think they use him in the guts.
Well, so do I.
Yeah.
But he's still not one you'd start with in Classic or even consider risking it. But I think he could bump himself up a little bit.
Agree. I agree.
Yep.
Now, looking at a defender who I think might slide in draft, but he showed in the second half of the year that he can get it done. So Coleman became a bit of a name there that we were all looking at picking up as an underpricer, which is hard to find throughout the year. But he kept getting derailed, little 1 week injuries and things like that kept occurring. But he registered 6 scores over 90 after round 10, including 200s.
Yep.
So it shows he's developing into quite an attractive little defender back there. Daniel Rich is getting a little bit older. Coleman's improving. You can see those two starting to transition there, I think.
Oh, I
so he's
100%
someone
agree.
you'd be very happy picking him up reasonably late. That you're going to get a big upside.
So I think he can be that low 80s guy, 80 to 85.
Taking it 78 up into the 80s, yep.
He went at 83 after his bye.
Yeah.
And that's with a couple of 50s in that.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I'm going to talk about a veteran, which, Cal, I don't know if you love him or hate him, but the fact that Jared Lyons is down 25 points on what he did the year before, obviously he was out of favour at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Dunkley coming in leaves him more out of favour,
So
you
didn't
would
play
think.
in any of their finals.
No. Which just seemed bizarre from the outside.
It does.
What do you'd like him on your bench for what he can do. Imagine if, like, touch wood, it doesn't happen. But if Neale went down, you'd go to Lyons.
He was coming off a big season. I'm
Huge
looking here.
season.
Before his bye, he's got a 122, a 128, a 129, a 126.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah, he's got a 101 before his bye, 78 after his bye. Not 1 ton.
No.
And then doesn't play finals.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's a late... If he's going back to doing these, and you can pick him up as a late sort of...
bench guy.
Someone's going to grab him.
Oh, he's got 92 next to his name. Someone's
He'll go.
kicking
Someone will
He'll
grab
go.
him.
And
He'll go at a
I'm
silly
not touching.
time.
I'm not touching him around that figure.
No,
way.
definitely not. Now, let me just go... I'm gonna finish with that one, actually. So let's just talk about...
I'm hanging around to the end now, Roy.
Well, no, it's not that exciting, but it's definitely worth talking about. But Will Ashcroft, after you've picked Dunkley, you pick Ashcroft. Now, don't get fancy just because he's a little bit expensive there, $298.
Yep.
Don't worry about
Didn't
that.
worry us with Dacos last year.
Now, I don't think we fall into the trap of just expecting that he's going to be as good as Dacos, but like his numbers suggest that he could be in that vicinity. So he's a scorer. Not only is he a good player, he's a scorer. So he averaged 118 for the Dragons in the NAB League.
Machine.
It included scores of 138, 139. This was no fluke.
No.
Like, he is an absolute jet. Played at VFL level. Listen to these scores. 111, 116, 122.
VFL.
It's against big dudes
A
that
real
play
competition.
footy, and they've played for a while. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, and he's a kid.
Yeah. So...
Well, they said that they would have played him if they could last year in the seniors.
So there you go. So you know how we're talking about that midfield?
Yeah.
Hugh probably does play a wing.
Yeah.
Because maybe Will plays through there straight away.
And Lyons will be scoring those in the VFL.
Yes. Yeah.
Picking him.
No, you're definitely not. Maybe it's your last bench spot. So Will Ashcroft, you're picking, and in keeper league, he goes as well.
Has to go early.
Too right, he goes early.
Because you're getting You're getting 10 to 15 years of that.
Of a proven scorer.
God.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Massive.
Man, oh man, Cal, you might not even see the end of his career if you did.
Seriously.
Darcy, what? Now,
Right.
Darcy, he's one of those unique dudes here where we've actually seen that he is capable of playing at the level and holding his spot at the level.
Yep.
And he did it in finals.
He did.
Now,
Debuting. in the final.
So it's an amazing thing. Now, some may say that he's no guarantee to actually start round one. And like that is true when you've got your full, fresh
Of course.
22. But
Of course.
he did actually bring a lot. Like
was good.
He brought energy and things
up
like
and
that
about.
as well. So he averaged 55.
Yep.
I've seen a few teams starting that on the ground, and in defence you can probably take that.
Yeah.
But I do like him sitting in that D7
Okay.
position
Yeah,
of a well-balanced team
Yep.
at the moment. So we're picking him,
Yep.
and he will get picked round one.
Of
and
course.
that's where I'd like to see him for us, D7.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think? You
Well,
guys
well,
take
we
him on
might
your ground?
we might have to have him on the ground just depending
I
on
think
with the
it's-
rookie shortage.
Well,
Cal.
it's your Chesser and your rookie. Jesus Christ, got me. With Chesser and Wilmot, some people
Yeah.
are actually playing them both on the ground. But
Yes, they
Dog,
are.
you were telling me there's a little bit of a Chesser cloud at the moment.
Oh, is it?
yeah, he's not in full training or anything yet. So
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
that would maybe bump Darcy onto the ground.
I think you could easily have one of them on your ground. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So anyway, 55.
two would be nice if you could fit them. And
55.
they work.
To be honest, 50 is the mark that I take from rookies these days. So
Yeah.
55 average in finals
Walker.
where it's more intensity.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, start him on your ground. I'm changed my mind.
And that's the thing. In those finals games, he wasn't playing against North Melbourne,
No.
Roy, or Hawthorn.
No, there were no easy kicks.
No. So there you go.
Okay. Sources got to me.
Oh,
Sources,
this early in the season.
Sources reckons he's seen some skin folds.
On
And Zorko ticking a lot of boxes. So you put the line through
Right.
him because he's 33. Okay, now, I'm not a body shamer, but he didn't look in great nick last year at the end. Like, he was battling away hard, but it looked like he was heavy.
Well, he finished the year pretty poorly as well, like average-wise.
Yeah.
So he averaged an 83. That's including finals. There. Yep. But play on.
So that wasn't harsh, how I
You
said
are
that.
a body shamer.
No,
I walked
I'm
in
not.
here today and you went, geez, Cow, you're fat.
That's encouragement. I want you to see the end of Ashcroft's career.
Okay,
All
good.
right, now, here's the deal. Zorko, he hasn't been able to basically participate in pre-season for probably the last 3 or 4 years, right? He's he's been carrying that Achilles issue for probably at least the last 2.
Yep.
Now, he's on top of that at the moment, and he has been able to participate in the pre-season, and he's been actually working right up there with the elite endurance beasts of the Lions. Okay, so a lean Zorko, whose endurance is up, don't worry about that 33. Like, he is just someone who he gives his heart and soul, and he is a player.
You can always shave
scorer.
off a couple of years off his career because he started later.
100%. I love that line dog, and we will use it because he did start late.
He did.
I don't know. In draft, there is meat on the bone.
Oh, yeah,
there
100%.
If you're looking at his average, you bump that right up. Like, I've got him in keeper at the moment where we've got to drop people off. Usually you're looking at a 33-year-old and you're like, see you, Zorks. But reading about the shape he's in and the people that he's running with currently and things like that, he is one to watch. And like he's locked in my keeper group for my keeper league because I'm quite bullish on how he's going to go this year.
Well, see, even that 82 average that he's got next to his name for the season, and I said, it was average to finish because he didn't have a ton in that last run of games, but he's got a 6 in that.
Yeah.
He's got a 32, a 44, 56, 49. Like, there's some pretty low
100%
scores
right
there.
there.
And for normal draft, single season draft, that 82 might be a little bit false.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, people will also go, what, you think that's going to improve as a 34-year-old, all those low scores? So you have to worry about that. He was put on ice a couple of times.
Before last year, he went at 109.
Yeah. And he didn't do a preseason then.
That's amazing.
He's better than 82.
He's way better than 80.
Look,
what is he then? Is he a 90?
Look, he's fit as. 100% he's over 90.
That pushes him top 10 forward.
Well, there you go. So he's fit as at the moment. He's easily over 90.
95, Roy.
You're going to see something in that pre-season game.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Do you ever get fully over them? He's confident that he's actually passed it because he's been able to put enough time into the injury.
He can just score.
Bloody oath he can score, and he's fit.
He's cheap.
He's 34. He'll be managed.
When you do rolling 22, do you factor in age?
100% it's criteria.
I knew you would.
But I'm not as silly as some.
No,
I don't have the significance of 30 years old being a thing. 33 with an Achilles, I've got a special criteria for that.
Fair enough too. Okay.
But, from all reports, no trouble with it at the moment and participating in his first pre-season in a long, long time.
That's elite sourcing this time of year, Roy. Well done.
So they're all that I'm really interested in, to be honest. Is there any other names that you guys had thought about at the Lions?
No, it's tough. Like, cash cows are tough as well because they're such a good team.
Yep, 100%. And so we've got 2, and I think that's pretty impressive for a
Wilmot
team that's top 4.
Ashcroft.
Yeah. They're not going to put any more than those 2 in round 1.
No.
Cam Rayner never did what he was supposed to do last year.
No.
For those people jumping, he played his 22 games.
Yes.
More midfield time, all this stuff in the pre-season. He averaged 64. Gross.
Yeah.
Those 2, Rayner and Bailey, they probably still get like a little bit more of an increase of CBAs.
Yes.
Not that their numbers were that high. Where were they? They were like 24 and 21% of them. So when they were playing. So I think they do because they need that development.
Probably.
But in saying that, development,
exactly,
because they're trying to win a flag.
They are trying to win a flag, and they just got Dunkley in for bulk CBAs.
Lyons. See ya.
What do you reckon, though? There's a couple you're starting with. 3 at least.
Dunks, and he's the number 1 pick in draft.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got 3 Lions minimum. Everyone does.
Yep. And we are talking with Darcy Wilmot.
Yeah, you can work it out yourself, people.
Ashcroft. Yeah, you got to help these people out, Roy.
No,
and
they know who. They know who.
Coward was picking up Zorko as well after this.
Yeah, he was just clarifying.
That's a fair chance.
No,
he was just clarifying.
Do we have Zorko in that or not?
4. Start 4 of them. Why not?
All right, there we are. They are the Lions. You can catch all our podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, over on afl.com.au/fantasy, where you can find heaps of other content. Getting towards the end of these, boys.
Oh, yes.
So, good work. We'll see you for the next one.